Well, witness testimony has now begun in the trial of two former Ohio State football players. They're accused of raping a woman at their off-campus apartment. That was back in 2020.
The victim in this case took to the stand this morning, and NBC4's Matthew Herchick was there and has the details on a difficult day in the courtroom.
Very emotional testimony in the courtroom this morning. The victim in this case, who we are not identifying, fought through many tears as she detailed what happened on that night 3 years ago. The jury also getting their first look at the video that the victim says she was forced to record after the incident took place. During opening statements, the state's prosecutor, Dan Meyer, revealed a brief history between Amir Reap and the victim. Meyer pointing out that the two actually grew up near the same hometown and had exchanged a few messages after she was accepted to Ohio State. Now, according to the prosecution, after making plans to hang out the night of February 4th, 2020, Reap picked the victim up from her dorm and took her back to the apartment he shared with his co-defendant, Jocelyn Wint. And the prosecution argues after the two began having consensual sex, the victim told Reap she did not want to continue when he allegedly forced her to continue, with Wint then later taking part. Now, the state says that Reap then took the victim back to her dorm, and hours later she went to the police. The two turned themselves into police a week later and were kicked off the football team less than 24 hours later.
She sat on the bed expecting to play video games or watch a movie. That was her expectation when she went in. Video games, movie, hanging out.
Doesn't lay a hand on her, doesn't rape her, doesn't hold her down, doesn't force her head in the pillow, does none of that. And I'm going to prove it to you.
Now, before Reap took the victim back to her dorm, the state argues that he coerced the victim into recording a video saying that everything was consensual. Now, the victim says that she only said that so she could get out of there and go home. The defense argues that the video was taken to avoid the situation they're in right now and says Reap voluntarily showed the video to police to try and exonerate them. We'll continue to follow this story and bring you the latest both on air and online at NBC4i.com. Local for you at the Franklin County Courthouse, Matthew Herchick, NBC4.